Well, good morning, everyone. We're here now to start the bioeconomy panel, and we have two wonderful guests, Nuno Oliveira and Pietro Rigonat. I hope the accent goes right. I'll try not to speak in Italian because that would be embarrassing. So we're all going for bioeconomy, and the definition goes a knowledge-based production and use of natural biological sources together with biological processes and laws that allow providing economy goods and services in an environmentally friendly way. That's the definition. But then when you go along being, well, a biologist and ecologist, a professor at the university in Lisbon, an expert in Alentejo wine, a senior advisor on agroecology, biodiversity, sustainability, you end up building up a startup because I guess you felt like you needed to care. You needed to start. Yeah, put it into practice. And so Nuno Oliveira started the NBI. NBI means Natural Business Intelligence. It's your startup, and you're due to talk about it right now.
Okay, thank you very much. It's a great pleasure to be here with you, and I'm going to make just try to share a short story with you, how nature and economy can in fact provide a symbiotic relationship, and we can maybe, just maybe, get to the next level. Okay, so first we need to understand that business as usual brought us to a point where it is very difficult to us at this moment to understand that there are other chances, there are other, sorry?
It's best for you if you sit because of whoever's home. I'm sorry. Unless you want to go to the pulpit.
No problem, sorry. So one thing that we need to understand is what brought us here so we can get it to the next level. Okay, sorry. So I took inspiration in one of my biggest heroes, David Attenborough. So I hope everybody saw this documentary by now, because it's like obligatory homework. And we do need to understand basic things. For example, this picture shows a village, an area in the center of Portugal, and the fog you see, it's agricultural waste being burned. And that in fact is one of the key issues from bioeconomy. We look at waste as something that only has value if it's burned or turned into energy, but in fact we are disposing lots of opportunities, lots of business ideas, lots of innovation every time we do this, and without filling the atmosphere with carbon. So we might look at the bioeconomy as something that we can use, a mindset, a mainframe that we can use to look at agricultural waste or forest waste, or the way that nature provides us with many different matters, and we can build from that, from biofuels to medicines to new nutritional options, many things. So this is the idea. Bioeconomy is in fact creating options, and it's all about that, about creating options with what nature provides us. And fortunately enough, those options are often sustained with our two main goals now, which is to address the climate emergency and create resilience, and to also understand and act towards the ecological major crisis that we're living with, biodiversity loss and ecosystem collapse. So bioeconomy is in fact trying to create, as I said, a symbiotic relationship between nature and economy, and say that we can in fact move on to a different way, to different level of using nature in a way that we can work with nature and not against nature. And that's the whole point of bioeconomy, looking at how these stressful situations like the COVID crisis can be addressed using nature to provide us with options and solutions that we can use to motivate ourselves to create different businesses, different communities, different ways of looking at the economy that brought us to this place. And in fact, we're living in a transition moment when there is really lots of support, the growing support for this transition from community level to industrial level, and we can see many emerging situations all over Europe and all over the world where in fact the plants, the natural resources can be used to create something that can take us out of the oil age to a nature age back again. And For example, last week it was published the red list for the threatened plants in Portugal, and more than 300 native plants are in fact in a major crisis and about on the brink of extinction. And if we look at that, that's very preoccupating, because some of those plants can be used for dealing with COVID situation and dealing with other situations. We're dealing with the energy transition situation, and we need to look at, for example, I love this website. It's called Flora On, and it's a website where you can look and understand more about all the plants in Portugal, or most of the plants. This, for me, it's like going to see my assets in the stock exchange. It's very important to look at these plants, because they hide many solutions in plain sight. So the point is, sometimes we feel like we have hit a bump in the road, we have a problem, but we are loaded with solutions that we just don't look at them. So it's time to try to understand that we need to focus and move to the sustainability to another level. Forget the pillars. The pillars were very important, but they are gone. Now we have to look at how we can do it in a responsible way, how we can increase our resilience, and how can we regenerate people, economy, communities, and the planet. So we can enter from business as usual to business as natural. So this is the idea of this presentation and this challenge to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Nuno. We will follow on into you, hopefully. We would now like to hear it from Pietro Rigonat. Pietro found a way, well, from Italy to Portugal and from Portugal to the world. He found a way to create bio-based value chains, and through communication, his skills on EU funding and on conversion of research results into actionable knowledge made him a valuable asset and made him, at Loba, the agency, create the BioBridges project. And that's putting projects in contact, but mainly big companies with small providers. Is that it, Pietro? The floor is
yours. Indeed. Bom dia a todos. Obrigado por ser aqui. And this is going to be the whole Portuguese you will hear from me today. So essentially, yes, what I want to talk to you today is the experience of Loba in the course of the last 4 years across 4 different projects, 3 of which were funded by BBIGU, Bio-Based Industries Joint Undertaking. And these projects were and are BioWays, BioVoices, BioBridges, and Lift. With regards to BioVoices and BioBridges, that, by the way, you can come and say hello to our exhibition booth in the room nearby, we found out 2 major problems with bioeconomy. Bioeconomy, as our colleague was saying before, brings a lot of opportunities, but at the same time, a lot of problems. One of these problems, on one hand, at least to our experience, is consumers' awareness, the labeling. The labeling for a bio-based product is always so tricky. People would like to buy the bio-based alternative compared to the fossil-based, but they don't have the right instructions. They don't have the right knowledge. And in this regard, labeling is not helping. But today, I would like to focus more on what we're doing on bio-bridges, because bioeconomy, by being as such an economy, needs value chains. And when we talk about bio-based value chains, you have to imagine what we had to do, for example, for this project, to bring under the same roof feedstock providers, so farmers, for example, suppliers, and then processing units like biorefineries. All of these actors somehow need to talk, need to collaborate, and need to create value chains, or better, bio-based value chains. This is such a huge challenge because I'll give you the example of Italy. In Italy, the municipalities do not talk to each other because of many different reasons. So you can imagine the different levels and backgrounds of these actors, how diversified they are, and how difficult to create value chains it is. Then COVID came across our way. But we tried to make, a virtue out of a difficulty. So we invented the bridge-to-brand format. What is it? Essentially, during big networking events, we came across Fiat Chrysler and P&G. And we asked them, look, would you be interested in exploring new greener solutions, more sustainable solutions for your whole range of products and market branches? And they were like, yes, why not? Let's try it. So we created the bridge to brand format, which is essentially us knocking on the door of huge industry and brands and asking them, what are the application sectors you would like to explore greener solutions? They give us a set of instructions, let's say, and we organize a call for innovative solution. We disseminate it worldwide, of course, with a more European focus, but we received applications from Canada, from China, and from India, for example. And these applications, they do not come from the big players. These applications come from inventors, from startups, from SMEs. Why? Because as it was said before, bioeconomy gives a lot of opportunities, a lot of different paths, a lot of different solutions to solve the same problem. And what we discovered, essentially, is that after Fiat Chrysler and P&G select the most suitable, the most interesting solutions, these guys can pitch what their business is about, what their solution is about, how they would like to make business with these big brands. And from there, business partnerships may be created. From that point, the BioBridge's role, let's say, is over. Because we created the bridge between these different actors. But what we discover is that the research centers of these entities are essentially the ones that are most keen to explore these solutions. So this must be also something to be tackled at an upper level from a, let's say, a top-down approach, in the sense that such huge industries, such huge brands have very complicated structures. You can only imagine. But if you target the research centers based in different nations of these industries, you can really make a bridge and you can really foster bio-based value chains. Then, of course, the local aspect also comes into place, because now there's COVID, everything is online, the pitching is online, so there's yet not physical business happening. For more physical value chains, for us, the answer is to act first locally, regional value chains. Experiment at local level when possible, or even at cross-border level. In my experience, working for Italy, Slovenia, Interreg, the integrated transportation was a good solution for many problems that at regional level, at Italian regional level, was not possible. So here we are with the BioBridges making interconnection, and BioVoices raising awareness of consumers about what bio-based products really are. We are making an exposition here at Planetiers just of a whole set of bio-based products collected in the past 3 years, so that people can finally see, touch, smell. Now with COVID, of course, you cannot do the majority of this, but they can finally see that it's there, it's in the market. It's just not at the retailer level yet. It's not in the supermarket, but the market is ready. The products are ready. If you want to, you can purchase them. There are just some steps yet to be done to get to the retailers.
Very much, and maybe those steps are the hardest path, and we have 2 minutes, but Nuno, I'd like you to go into this, because the steps that I'm missing are probably the hardest, and they go across skepticism, and that's the hardest part, isn't it?
Well, maybe, but on the other hand, I guess they are the easiest steps when you are decided to climb. So the whole point is looking at the dimension of the problem, understand that there are options, that there's not a single way to solve the problem. For example, we are now dealing with the issue of adapting to climate change, storing carbon, and restoring biodiversity and water. And we can use some of these plants and some of these plant communities to do that and to create novel products for medicine, for nutrition, for whatever you can imagine, even bioplastics. So the whole point is more about, from my point of view, is more about linking the dots and see what's the major drawing is
Or are the investors looking at that?
they are
they
investing
paying
in that.
attention?
No, it's happening.
It's happening.
It's happening.
Pietro, you mentioned the steps that are missing. Do they go towards what Nuno just said? That is, do you feel investors are ready when it comes to the supermarket decision?
Well, on one hand, yes, they are ready, and there are funds actually available now and being created in Brussels, at least.
And he's an expert on that, so you can consult with him, with Pietro, for the funds.
Yep, yeah, absolutely. However, again, we got to the problem of having these top-down approaches where in the middle you cannot go from the fund to the supermarket in the city so easily, you know. So this bridging that we are doing actually is what essentially fosters a domino effect.
Yeah.
That's what is needed, because bioeconomy gives as much opportunities as problems at the same time.
Okay.
But all, you know, for a greater objective that I hope everyone can agree with, you know.
We're facing those. 0 seconds to finish. Thank you very much, Nuno and Pietro, and they'll be available afterwards. And thank you, they're back home.